Hello, hello, my gorgeous ones. Thank you so much for being so patient with me. We always have stuff going on with the planets, right? But the bigger picture or the most prominent things are the things that I kind of want to bring when I do tarot readings, right? So we have Jupiter transiting from Libra to Scorpio on October 10th. So I want to talk about that first. So, welcome, welcome, all you new ones. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities to help you on your path, including tarot, astrology, hypnotherapy, and mediumship. So, I want to let everybody know, or I want to thank everybody for being patient, because when I'm doing tarot, or especially with this channel, I'm expanding it just from tarot. I'm a teacher, I'm a spiritual advisor, that's what I do. So I'm always sort of teaching you guys. So I had to like really meditate, get centered, and try to help, or try to see how I was going to teach this, right? So, because it's important, there's such a big group that's watching, it's important for uh, everyone to sort of get the concept, right? And when I do that, I know the way a Virgo is hearing me is not the same way a Scorpio is hearing me, or a Cancer is hearing me, or an Aquarius is hearing me. So even though you may get frustrated at the way that I say things, just understand that it's not just you watching. There are many, many, many watching. It's important for everyone to get the concept. That's the way that I teach. So, um, back to this Jupiter transiting into Scorpio. So Jupiter transits for a year. And so October 10th, it's going to be transiting from Libra, because it was in Libra, and now it's going to move into Scorpio. So obviously, when it moves into a different house and a different sign, then it's going to be doing different things, right? And so it's got to like play nice with the house, right? So it's almost like it's coming to live in a house, and the house has a, I don't know, ruler, a landlord, right? So when Scorpio, or when Jupiter moves into Scorpio, it's going to be doing something very different than when it did to Libra. Or it could be doing the same thing, just in a different way, right? So let's talk about Jupiter itself first. Okay, so Jupiter is it's a huge planet. So, and again, it transits for a year. And so Jupiter is the manifester. Jupiter in Vedic astrology, they call him the guru, right? Jupiter is the teacher. Jupiter wants to expand things. And Jupiter, pardon me, got something stuck in my throat. Uh, um, but Jupiter wants to like give gifts and expand your knowledge and expand your thinking and expand your way of life, right? But it wants to do it for responsible owners, okay? So, because it's a teacher. So it's like, yes, you can have your gifts, but you have to be responsible in them. It's almost like, when you get, because we've talked about lottery winners, when you get lottery winners, the person that's responsible and able to handle that is much different than the one that isn't. They're going to end up losing it, right? So Jupiter sees this and he wants to give it to everybody. Jupiter loves giving gifts, so he wants to give it to everybody, right? But he's saying, as a guru, there are responsibilities that you have to be able to take and have to be able to accept these gifts. So that's sort of Jupiter. Pardon me, I don't know what's wrong with my throat. It must be a lot of you guys and myself. So Jupiter is like law and virtue and wealth. But Jupiter, being the guru or being the teacher, looks at like a lot of levels of a situation, or a lot of levels of what's going on when he's going to give you those gifts, right? So he's looking at everything, and he's teaching you about those things, right? So Jupiter being in whatever house it's going to be in for you, is going to be teaching you and expanding. And so it, like in the 10th house, where it's like your fame and your persona and all that, oh my gosh, it can make you grow so much out into the world and become this like person that everybody goes to and knows, right? But before Jupiter got there, it was like, did you work hard for that? Were you doing your 16 hours a day or 14 hours a day studying and going and doing? That's what Jupiter's saying. Jupiter's like, I want to give you these gifts. Are you ready for them? Are you ready for them? And if you're not, he'll teach you. He'll teach you. And he's a what they call a malefic planet, right? So malefic is like a beautiful soft planet, right? So when Jupiter's looking at things, it's looking in the sign or the house, wherever he's at. He's looking at the positive and the negative. He's looking at both, right? But Jupiter is a masculine, what they call a masculine planet. So meaning when it's a masculine planet, it wants to manifest externally. So it wants to give you like the material. So it manifests externally. It's not like this inner pull or inner thing. It's like whatever you're learning, it can manifest into the physical. Does that make sense? So it'll want to manifest on an external level, right? So there are going to be some times during this year in your chart where you're going to have like, the Jupiter and then the sun and so all those other planets sort of help and talk to each other, and that's what's going to be going on in your planets. I mean, in your houses. So when I'm doing this tarot reading, I'm doing it from your ascending, but you can look at your moon and you can look at your sun and you can look at your Venus. I mean, you can look at those things, but when you look at them from their point of view. Okay. So, I know a lot of people were like, no, it's not in this house, it's in that house. Well, it's my astrology, it's my reading. So I'm going to say it the way that I see it, and I'm going to say it the way that I'm being told to say it. So it may not be what your chart says, but it's what my chart said, right? So I just wanted to make that clear. Let me make sure I'm looking at my notes to make sure that I don't forget everything about Jupiter. So I think the most important thing to understand, because it's ruled by Mars. I'm sorry, it's not ruled by Mars. I was looking at Scorpio. I think the most important thing that you need to understand is everybody gets this misconception that Jupiter's just going to give gifts and everything's going to be okay. And it's not. It depends on how it works in your house. It depends on what planets are there in your house, what house it's at, and how it's talking to the other planets, and how it's actually talking to the sign in your house, right? But it's going to be in Scorpio. So let's talk a little bit about Scorpio. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars, right? And we all know Mars. Mars is that ambition. It's that thing that drives it, that makes you work hard, right? But also Mars can like take away harshly too. So Mars being, Scorpio being ruled by Mars, you're going to see that it's going to want to like, Jupiter is going to have to express itself in a Martian way, right? That makes sense? So let me say it this way. Let's just say, so Jupiter's been in a home in Libra for a year, and now he's got to move to a different home, right? So he's moving into Scorpio. And Scorpio, we'll just say the landlord is Mars, right? So Jupiter has to like sort of go by the rules of Mars and Scorpio, right? So if you think about it that way, that may help you. And the reason I'm explaining these characteristics, because I think it's really important for you to understand the planet and the sign and then your house, so that you know how to ultimately express these things, how to manifest these things in your life. Because you can, this is what the astrologers call octaves. Like you can express it in a negative, excuse me, what you call a negative way, or you can go to the finer vibration and express it in a positive way. But that's kind of up to you. That's where we have free will. That's where we have choices, right? And that's kind of up to you. But my job is to help you, to give you the knowledge and the understanding so that you know what you're working with, right? When you have the tools, you know what you're working with, right? So let's talk about Scorpio. Scorpio is sometimes a misunderstood sign. I know I've had the pleasure of having beautiful Scorpios around me, really beautiful Scorpios around me. It's not that I haven't seen beautiful Scorpios around me, but I've had the pleasure of having all the octaves, or what you call all the octaves around me. So I know how beautiful they can be, but I know how sometimes they're misunderstood. Because, you know, when you think about Scorpio, a lot, oftentimes they're just thought of as the ones that are keeping secrets, the ones that, you know, can manipulate, and the ones that are very sexual. Well, yeah, those are, you know, that Scorpio itself has those things in it, has those characteristics in it, but it doesn't necessarily, that's not all of what Scorpio is. Scorpio is just this beautiful, it has so many other beautiful things. So let's talk about what that is. So let's talk about some characteristics. So some characteristics about Scorpio is being secretive and aggressive, the protector, right? So if you're close to any Scorpio, you know that they will protect you if they love you and they understand you. They will protect you till their death. Like that's how Scorpios are. So, but they're also intuitive, very empathic, empathetic as well, right? And what they do is they love the taboo. They love what's out of the ordinary. So oftentimes the reason that they're secretive, they're not meaning to be secretive in a malicious way. They're being secretive because they're thinking, and this is not all Scorpios, but they're being secretive because they're thinking what I see in this situation is probably not what society sees, and people probably won't understand that I'm okay with this, so I would just rather not say anything. That's a Scorpio. They're not trying to be malicious. They're not trying to be secretive. They're always thinking of you and thinking, well, you know, they don't really need to know that part because it's just my thought and my perception anyway. That's a Scorpio, right? So oftentimes there's that miscommunication in relationships where Scorpios being secretive, but it's because they don't really, they think that it might be more harmful to you if you know what they're really thinking is okay, right? So take that into consideration when you're dealing with a Scorpio. Scorpio is about transformation. And if you've followed me forever, this is one thing I've always said about Scorpios. I always see them as the rising phoenix. I see them as going in, figuring it out, that inner deep, deep, deep stuff, because that's what they want to do. They want the knowledge of that deep, deep, deep occult, deep hidden, deep, deep stuff, right? And then they transform themselves. So let me say this, if you have a Scorpio in your life, they definitely, as much as they will push your boundaries, as much as, they won't push your boundaries, as much as your boundaries will be pushed, as much as your knowledge of the hidden will be pushed, you will ultimately be transformed and have the change into what you're supposed to be. That's Scorpio. Scorpio transforms into what you're supposed to be. Okay? So, having Jupiter go into Scorpio, that is what we're going to be dealing with over this next year, right? And depending on, this is where, you know, you want your chart read by an astrologer. Depending on the degree and which house will depend on that type of transformation, will depend on that type of knowledge, will depend on that type of thing that's going on. But again, because Jupiter's in there, it's going to expand it. It's going to make it bigger, right? So going back to Jupiter going into Scorpio. So in this time with Jupiter going into Scorpio and having to play by Mars and Scorpio's rules, right? Because now they're roommates. Now he's got to, or that's his landlord. So now Jupiter's got to be like, Jupiter's like, well, I got to go by these rules. So Jupiter is going to be in your house, wherever he's at, is going to be digging deep for knowledge, digging deep for the teachings. That's what Jupiter's going to have to do, right? Because Jupiter and Mars are friends. So Jupiter plays well with Mars. He just has a different way of doing things, but he understands that once he's in the Scorpio house, he's got to play by the rules, right? Like I said, Jupiter loves to give gifts. He loves to do that, but Jupiter is also about transformation and expansion. So that's why they play well together. They just do it in a different way, right? It reminds me of when a Gemini and Aquarius get together, because you guys know my son is Gemini ascending Aquarius. So I have, in my lifetime, many, many Aquarian relationships. And so we have the same understanding about things, but we will be expressing it and explaining it in a different way, right? So it reminds me of kind of that. And I'm sure there are other signs, but I'm just bringing that to me. So, um, the one thing about Scorpio is that it is intense. So Scorpio is very intense. So whatever you're going to be going through, whatever this house is going to be lit up for you, wherever you're trying to express yourself, is remember because I'd said before, the planets are about expressing. It's the way that you're wanting to express it, and where it falls in the house. The houses are the area of life you're wanting to express it, but the planets and the sign are about the way that you're wanting to express in your life. Okay, so you're going to have some intense, deep, hidden things come about in your love life, in your life itself, in your love for family, in your businesses, in your money, in all of that. That's what Scorpio is about. It's about transforming, and so is Jupiter. So you're going to have some big transformation, which makes sense as to why I kept feeling transformation for everybody, because there's big transformation going on this year. Now, of course, this is only part of where the planets are, but this is a big part. And that's why I've decided to do Jupiter and Scorpio. So I'm going to go over each house, I'm going to go over each sign and tell you where it's at in your house, and then do the month of October reading. Okay? So I hope I explained everything correctly. Oh, I did want to mention too, this is very important because I know some of you, again, I'm speaking to a whole but many different people. And some of you will associate better with a chakra, right? So Scorpio is associated with the solar plexus. It's associated with your third chakra, right? So if you don't know what the third chakra is, or the solar plexus chakra, you can think of the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh as those that come from above. And then, so in the spiritual almost realm, or in the energetic realm, right? And then the two down below are the ones that come from earth, or this earth, right? So if you take what you know from above and what you have from below, and you bring them together, you manifest through your third chakra. So you're all about manifestation in this chakra. Okay, so I think that's very important for a lot of people to understand. Now, depending on what house it is in and where your planets are aligned, is going to depend on how you're going to manifest these things. What are you going to manifest, right? What area of life you're going to manifest, and how. So I will see you in a minute. Okay, one more thing before I begin, I forgot to say. I wanted to talk about the ascending, the sun, and the moon very quickly so that you guys understand when you're watching. If you're watching from the ascending, you take this perspective, or the sun, you take this perspective, or the moon, you take that perspective, right? So the ascending, you can think of that as like so your identity here in this world, right? Your identity. But when it comes from your ascending, when you're looking at it from your ascending, you're talking about your past lives, or if you don't believe in past lives, the stuff that's fated to happen, the stuff that's supposed to happen, the stuff that comes from nowhere, the stuff or the things, or the situation, or the people, like those relationships and whatever, fame, whatever that is. When it comes from, when you're looking at, that's why I like to work from the ascending, because this is stuff that was supposed to be yours anyway. This is stuff that's coming in for you anyway, because this is what you wanted to experience, because this is how you wanted to manifest, because for all different reasons. So, or because, in your past life you did so much work and now you brought some of the gifts for this life, right? That's what you're looking at when you're looking at the ascendant, right? And that's why, sometimes what you guys call miracle just happened. Well, it happened because it was coming from your ascending. It was what you wanted to experience it in that way, right? So that's why I like to look at the ascending. And when you're looking at your ascending, that's the way that you want to see it. Okay? I mean, or not. You can do whatever. I'm just saying this is my understanding. So your sun, when you're looking at your sun sign, or you're watching from your sun sign, these are the the directions that you can take. This is the intention that you put on your goals and your relationships and your way of life and the things that are happening to you. This is where you can make your choices, right? So this is more of the conscious mind, right? So you can think of it as like the ascending coming from your subconscious and the sun coming from your conscious, although they all have both. But this is where you can make your decisions and put your intention and put your focus, and this is where, some people will say this is where your free will is, right? So when you're looking at it from your sun, it doesn't negate the fact that, I mean, your ascending isn't more important than your sun. It all kind of works together. It's just that the ascending is where you get like those things that you're like, wow, that just happened, or oh my gosh, that just happened, right? Because that stuff like you probably didn't even see coming because it was fated for you. It was supposed to come in for you. It was like, that's like the miracles. That's from your higher self. That's from spirit. That's from you, from your whole being, right? And then the sun is more of that conscious. Now the moon is the way, when you're looking at it from your moon, this is where you get the information or get the relationship or get the things around you, and you're looking at them and you're processing them. And we process them many different ways, but we do it and we connect with it emotionally, right? So that's why they call the moon the emotional part. So this is where you're processing the information, and that's what you're doing when you're looking at the moon. When you're looking at it from the moon side, you're gathering the information and you're processing it emotionally. You're trying to connect to it. What do I want to do with it? What do I want to do with that situation? What do I want to do with that person? What do I want to do with my life? What is going on, right? That's the moon. So I just thought that was very important for everybody to understand. And please, even though I'm saying look at it from the ascendant, don't don't box yourself in. This is why I don't just do astrology, because astrology, just sometimes some people are so analytical and so to the T that you're missing out on this whole bigger picture. So absolutely look at it from your moon, because you might see a different thing. Look at it from your sun, because you might see a different thing. Look at it from your ascending. Look at it from all sides. That way you gather all the information, because they're all important. Okay? So I hope that helps. I'll see you in a minute. All right, my beautiful Gemmies. When I pulled these cards, I was like, what? Wow. I haven't said wow yet to any of the signs. I'm saying wow to you guys. I have not seen this person. Oh, you can't see it in the camera. I've not seen this in a while. I've not seen him or her in a while. I mean, I think I saw him in the dailies somewhere, but I can't believe that like this stuff is going to be happening. Okay, so my beautiful Gemmies, Jupiter is moving and going into dun, 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 your sixth house. But what's good is that it's not just going in your sixth house, it's going to be aspecting your 10th house. And you guys know the 10th house is the persona, your placement in this world, the fame, how do you say it? Yeah, your persona in this world. So a lot of you are connected to like coming out in the world and being something like on a notoriety level, right? So I feel that with a lot of gems, it's like on your path, and so you've been working on that. But with Jupiter going into your sixth house, it's aspecting your 10th, so it's going to be continuing to expand that 10th house, and it's going to be giving you the rewards of the 10th house, right? Because if you've been working on it, that's what it's going to do. But remember, Scorpio wants to go deep. So deep in this sixth house is like with the sixth house and with Jupiter looking at the 10th house and sixth house, I see where a lot of your career and your whatever you're doing is going to cause you to travel a lot, like long distance travel. So there are some of you that are going to be long distance traveling a lot this next year. So I can say that for you guys, but you're gems. You like to travel. It's easy for you to travel. Well, I mean, it's not easy, but you like it. You like the adventure of it. So what's the sixth house about? So the sixth house it's about your health and your work and your service to others. It's ruled by Virgo usually, but Scorpio is going to be in here. So Scorpio is going to want you to dig deep. Scorpio is going to want you to dig deep in this house and really, and I think this is good because your 10th, see, for some reason, this is tied in with your 10th house for me. I'm feeling this. So, as much energy as you have and as much vitality as you have and adventuresome as you have, you can get tired. So, and you can get sort of spread in all different directions and then forget to focus, right? So in the sixth house with Jupiter, the guru, the teacher, the planet that wants to give you gifts because it wants to manifest physically, remember? So, with it expanding in this house, with it helping you understand and grow in this house, I kind of feel like you're going to come to a point where you really understand, yes, I do have to handle my business, and yes, I can do this, and yet, and so I feel like you get organized in this house. I feel like your daily routines, I feel like you take care of your health better. I feel like your skills get better, your work gets better. I feel like that. I feel like it's expanding in all of these areas. So, um, if you haven't been paying attention to your health, but you've been so working on, your businesses or your careers, or some of you, your love life you're working on, it's kind of rare. It's not rare. It's less right now for the gems to be working on their love life. They've sort of, I feel like gems have just come to this place where they want to be stable first. Like they want to get all their stuff together, and that's big for a gem. They want to get all their stuff together, be stable, so that the love that comes in is just as stable as they are, and it's a different type of relationship. That's what I'm feeling. So, this sixth house with Jupiter being in there, it's going to expand all of this knowledge and understanding and practice. I want to say it's practice. So, it sort of gives you, like, I can see you waking up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning. You first meditate, then you go work out, or you work out and you meditate, and you get your schedule going, and you're taking care of your health, and you're taking care of the way you eat, and you're taking care of your business, you're taking care of the things that you didn't want to look at, you're taking care, like, I feel like you're actually, you come to do this in your sixth house throughout the year. Now remember, as you do this, Jupiter, because remember, well, first of all, Scorpio wants you to go deep. Scorpio wants you to dig deep in the sixth house. Scorpio wants you, it doesn't want the surface stuff. It wants you to come to a point to understand, I'm doing this because I want to. I'm doing this because it makes me happy. I'm working 16 hours a day. Not all of you, but I'm just saying, this is an example. I'm working 16 hours a day because it's my passion, because it's what I love. I work out before, I meditate in the middle, I go visit family and friends. I make sure to have time for this, and I make sure to have time for my health, and I make sure to have time. Like, that's what the sixth house, I feel like, you grow into over this next year. Is like, it's not that you haven't been doing it now, it's just that you're going to get better, and that you're coming to a place where you understand, I'm doing this stuff because I want to, because I'm passionate about it, because it doesn't feel like work to me, because it feels like it's just part of me. That's what I feel like in this house that you're going to be going into. But because it has long distance travel in it, I feel like, and it's because it's aspecting your 10th house, I feel like your career is like really going to take off. If it hasn't already taken off, it's starting to take off. And I feel like there is long distance travel in here. And yeah, so there's like, and remember, Scorpio's transformation and digging deep. So this transforms you by the end of the year. This helps you, so like you become more efficient and effective in this world and in your world that you've created. Your careers again. And I feel like that thing that's been holding you back in your persona, in your career, in your life purpose, because the 10th house is your life purpose. And I feel like you guys kind of have a connection to your life purpose. Like you've come a long way, and you understand what you really want to do, right? Like maybe not all the details of what you want to do, but you're in the area that you want, and you understand that it's about tweaking it. And so I feel like there's transformation that's going to go on in this 12th house, in the 10th house. So I feel like your careers take off, or your life purpose takes off, as you work on your sixth house. I feel like it's all tied in together for some reason. Well, not for some reason, well, for many reasons, but I feel like because your purpose has to do with your everyday life and your work and your health, and you're just sort of trying to incorporate it, right? Okay, so that being said, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Just understand that with Jupiter being in your sixth house and aspecting your 10th house, you're going to continue to grow and expand in this area. So you're going to expand in all of this. You're going to expand in your knowledge. You're going to expand in your skills. You're going to expand in, and also your aunts and uncles are in the sixth house, so you could be dealing with them, the expansion in relationships with them. Things need to be balanced with them. Things need to be grown with them. And so I think you're going to have that time to do that. So what the sixth house does is it prepares you for the seventh house. It prepares you for those uh, boundaried relationships, right? It prepares you for the seventh house. That's kind of what the sixth house does. So it becomes like, okay, I already know what I want. I already know what I'm doing. This is like, I don't even think about it because it's part of who I am. And then you move into the seventh house where it's like people come are introduced into your life and people come to you and then they mirror you. And then you know immediately, these are my boundaries. This is what I'm willing to accept. This is not what I'm willing to accept, right? So I feel like that's what's going to be going on for the year. So you can look back November of 2018, you can look back over this year and say, wow, I really did grow. I'm really more efficient. I'm really more effective. I am giving to the world. I'm giving to myself. I'm really balanced in that. Like, I feel like that. And I feel like you're going to be like, yeah, like I had a breakthrough in my purpose and things are going really well. I kind of feel like that too. Okay. So, that being said, this is your October 2017 for it's your love reading. So if you've never seen me before, love to me is that force or energy that moves through all vibrations. So I could be talking about your romance. I could be talking about your friendships. I could be talking about your all types of relationships. I could be talking about your money. I could be talking about your life purpose. I could be talking about your health. Like it kind of depends on where your area of focus is. Okay. So in your first position, I know it's just overwhelming, which is exactly why Jupiter is going into your sixth house because you have all these things that you started and you know. And so let me say this, there are different phases of Geminis. You know, there are 20-year-old Geminis, 30-year-old Geminis, 40-year-old Geminis, 50-year-old Geminis that watch this, right? So it depends on the phase of your life. And so you've come to this whole last year where and you continue, and I would say mainly like the last 6 months, but you continue to expand yourself and you continue to grow and you continue to start new things and you continue to venture out and you continue to say, no, I know that this is to be true. I know this is what I want. I know I can have all this. I know I can have the stability and the money and the finances and the homes and the relationships. I know I can have relationships. I know I can connect with my, whatever, so you were starting all of this and you were like doing it like because you're really adventuresome, but it's become overwhelming, right? And this is why Jupiter is moving into your sixth house, because your sixth house in Jupiter, or Jupiter in your sixth house, is going to expand that. It's going to help you tweak that and understand that. So right now it's really overwhelming for you. But if you look at these swords, I always say there's light at the end of them. This is like in preparation. This is practice. So there are some things that have just become overwhelming and you can't make decisions about, or you've had to make decisions about, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's too much. Am I gonna make it, or is it gonna break? What am I gonna do? Like, I can't even move. But what's funny is that you continue to move anyway, and that's what I love about you, Gems. Is like, you'll do what needs to be done, even if you are so frozen and so hurting and so like beat down. People don't understand that about Geminis. So yeah, I'm not going to say that, but yeah, people don't understand that about Geminis. People don't understand that Geminis will pull it out of their, you know, and do what needs to be done. And that's kind of where you're at. You're like, I'm doing and I'm doing and I'm doing and it's just like, it's too much. It's too much, right? That's how you're feeling now. What's crossing you, my beautiful gems, is the Ten of Coins. So this is Spirit's advice in the situation. They're saying those things that you've been working so hard. Says this is generational money. This is generational energy. This is hard work that you have put in. This is your like bank account, right? And it's opening up for you. It's coming through. It is going to come through. The one thing they want to say to you is continue, just continue to do, continue to be, continue to see what you once saw before, continue to see those visions and those things that you saw for yourself, because it had to take hard. So let me say this. In the past, maybe when you were younger, or maybe all your life for your younger ones, everything came, no, I won't say everything. Things came easy sometimes to you, where like it was a miracle, or where like it was like, yeah, all I had to do is do this, or I didn't even have to do anything and something came through. Or, even in relationships, like people love you. You're gems. People love you. So you'd come to a point where you didn't want it that way anymore. You wanted to do it on your own. You wanted to have the stability from your own, because through all of that, what you learned was, I have to be the one that's stable so that I can attract someone that's just as stable, right? And so doing that, this is what this whole 2 3 years has been about, was you understanding your placement, the way that you want your world, not having to depend on other people, not wanting to depend on other people, not doing for other people first and not doing for yourself, right? So that's what you've been sort of doing these last 2 or 3 years. Well, this is all the 2 or 3 or even your lifetime of things that you have put in the bank that haven't come through because it wasn't time. You hadn't built that solid foundation. Because let me tell you, Gems, this foundation that you've built is not gonna come crumbling down. It's not gonna break, because it's so freaking solid. It's like a Taurus solid or a Capricorn solid or a Virgo solid. It's like solid. It's not going anywhere, right? You're just at that point where you're like, oh my gosh, I've done everything and it's still sort of imploding, or things are still happening. But they're saying, no, continue to do. You're almost at that point. We're moving, the planets are always moving. The energy is going to clear up. There were some last minute things that you needed to understand and you needed to really solidify. There were some things that you were doing that you really didn't want to do, but you were doing it anyway. And so making those choices and doing those things is releasing and opening this door. Because the 10 of coins is physical material gains, right? But this is generational. This can come from other people's money. And by that, I don't mean like other people. It could be like your ancestry money, or it could be like your ancestry home, or it could be like a past life, like other members of your soul group, right? That's kind of what this card is. So, but it also is money that you have put in the bank, maybe from your past life, that's going to come through, maybe from this life of all the work that you've done. And they're saying that this is right on top of you. They know it feels like bleak. They know it feels like it's not happening, but it is happening. So just hang in there, my gems. So in your past, you had the 8 of Swords. See, like you move from this to this. So you're like, I'm trying in relationships, in romantic relationships, in my finances, in my life purpose, in my friendships, in my family, in all of it. I feel like it's like all of you, for all of you, that you were like, I just don't know what to do anymore. And everywhere that I turn, it's like, I almost feel like I almost am afraid to take a step because it's going to fall through, right? And so you were in that and you came to this where you just are like, it's too overwhelming. It's just too overwhelming. Okay? Because this could be about a relationship that you're having that, you thought was one way, but really is another way, and it's just come to light. And so I feel like for a lot of you that it was like that one thing that just blew everything out of the water, and now you just feel like, what? WTF. Sorry, I can't say it. WTF. You're like, what? So hang in there, my gems. I love you dearly. You're doing the right thing. You are. So in your 4th position from at the beginning of the month of October, so the first 2 weeks, you have the 7 of Cups. That is all about opportunity. And again, Jupiter's going into your 6th house on October 10th. So it's like right at the end of that, or right at the beginning, in the middle of that 2nd week, that you have opportunity. But I see it even before. So this is all about these opportunities coming to you, but are you going to take them? And sometimes you're like, I don't know that I should take them because everything that I've tried, or some things that I've tried, just fall through, right? And so they're saying, just get centered, speak from your heart, get your heart, mind, and soul aligned, and that's how you know you're going the right way, right? When your heart, mind, and soul are aligned, not the ego, because the ego can trip you up. The ego's like, no, well, it didn't do it. No, well, people always fail you. No, well, people always hurt you. No, well, you don't have it within you to be able to be stable and blah, 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 blah. That's like your ego, right? That's that negative talk. And the ego is good when it's balanced, but all of that I just said is like imbalance. It's not balanced. So when your heart, your mind, and your soul are aligned, that's how you know it's your truth. It's your truth. It's your aspect. It's your path, right? So in the beginning of the 2 weeks, you have opportunities. Some of you, that means somebody comes in. That actually does mean someone can come in, like a lover, like a partner, like a business partner. So there are going to be these opportunities for you, those seen and unseen. And the reason I say seen and unseen is because somebody may offer you something and you're like, I don't know, whether I should do that because it seems like I might not get much out of that. Or it seems like because I know myself, I'll be doing too much work for somebody and then, I won't get much. But you never know that one opportunity, maybe as you're doing that, you get introduced to a different person or another thing, and then that becomes bigger, and then that's like on your path, because it's all on your path, but that's the one that you were thinking about or the one that you see, you just didn't know how you were going to get there. That makes sense? So again, it's not a right or wrong, but your truth and your path will let you know when your heart, mind, and soul desire it. So you could have a business partner come in. You could have money opportunities come in. You could have home opportunities come in. You could have car opportunities come in. You could have relationship, romance, and friendships come in, right? So that's what you'll be doing in the first 2 weeks of October. Now, in your fifth position from your higher self, I always ask your higher self, what is the one message you want to bring through to help you move forward in love? You have the faith card. It's so funny because, I'm saying this in a couple of ways. Your higher self is saying, have faith in yourself. Have faith in you. You have faith in others. You see the best in others. Because I know you, Gems. You'll look back at a relationship, whether it's friendship, family, or romance, and you'll only see the best in them. You'll forget the other stuff, and you'll only see the best in them. That's having faith. That's having faith in humanity, right? That's seeing the best in everything, right? And I love you for that, Gems. I'm a Gem too. I'm a Gem sun. But the one thing is that you sometimes don't have faith in yourself. You don't even count on yourself for some reason. You don't give yourself that. And so for some of you, they're saying, look at you. You're a powerful, powerful, powerful being, and you can have whatever you want. You can have these things that you have seen. Otherwise, you wouldn't have seen them. You can have those things. Just continue to do, even though it seems overwhelming. Just continue to stay in that vibration, because it's all about the unfolding, right? And we gems get impatient. If it didn't happen yesterday, we're like, oh, it's never coming. And that's not true. It could come tomorrow. Like, you don't know, right? Okay. So that's for some of you. For others of you, I feel like if this is a business opportunity, or this is your job, or this is like your career, I feel like they're saying go with the bigger organization, go with the bigger entity, because that, as much as it's a bigger organization, it's steeped in stability. It like helps you become stable. It keeps you in the stability, or it takes you to a stable place. You don't have to stay there. They're just saying that connection to that bigger entity or that bigger organization, or that bigger, if somebody comes and wants to collaborate with you, or somebody comes and wants to like partner with you, like if they're the bigger one, you don't have to stay there, but at least investigate that and go to that at this point, right? And so for others of you, they're saying, because I do hear this from some of your higher selves. They just said some of them are wondering, some of you guys are wondering if you're ever going to get married or have that long-lasting relationship, and the answer is yes. The answer is yes. And then I'm hearing you say, well, when? It's exactly when you're wanting and needing, right? So it's exactly when you Gemini said, I want to be stable. I want to have all my stuff together. I want to be emotionally available. I want to not play games with people. I want people not to play games with me. When you are solid in all of that, that person comes in. When you're ready, that person comes in. Okay? Now, in your sixth position, this is the end of the month or the last 2 weeks of the month, you have the Strength card. So I feel like these things, I feel like this is the chaos that's going on around you. I feel like this lion or this tiger, lion, is the chaos that's going around you. That's a tiger. The chaos that's going around you, right? I don't know why I'm saying that differently, but I am. Okay, so I feel like this is the chaos that's going around you, and I feel like at the second half of the month, you tame it. I feel like the fires get burned out. I feel like you settle things down. I feel like everything's okay. I feel like you're feeling better. Not just that, I feel like you are so on freaking point. It's not even funny. Like, it doesn't matter. I see where you're like, somebody comes and you're like, nope. And somebody else comes and you're like, yes. And it's like you already know. You are so on point. For some reason, they're showing me this very, very brightly, where you are so intuitive. You are so in tune with yourself. You are so in tune with your surroundings. You just know. It's not a belief. It's not a this place where I'm so overwhelmed. It's I know. I know this. I know this is not. I know this is it. I know this is not. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like that chaos calms down. I feel like you make the decisions you need to make, and I feel like you are on target. By the end of the month, you're going to be feeling better. Okay? Does that make sense? And yes, it's because these things come through, and it's because some of you are like, well, nothing's, it's not happening, and maybe some things are happening, and they're saying, it's okay, just let it unfold. You don't have to believe us. We're asking you to have faith in yourself, not in us. Have faith in you. Okay? Now, of course, your seventh position, this is your fear. Will I ever be this stable person who is happy, who has joy, who has come through so much and can still smile and love and have their heart open? That young Gemini that you used to be, when you used to look at the butterflies differently, when you could see the world with such a beautiful eye. You've come through so much, and you want to, so you have this understanding where there are people, and yourself, you want to be included, who have come through a lot and can still love and can still find joy and can still find happiness. You understand that you don't have to be jaded. And so that is your fear. Will I ever get to that space where where I've come through a lot and I can still love? Right? Or for some of you, am I ever going to get to a space where I'm really stable, self-sufficient, independent, able to do things, and have the people around me because I want them around? Not because I need them around, but because I want them around. That's just a fear. A fear is there to remind you of what you want and what you don't want. Focus and continue to focus on what you want, okay? We already know what you don't want. But you tell yourself that every day of what you don't have, of what you don't want, of what always happens. That's going to continue to happen. You got to change your thought process because you're a Gemini. You're ruled by Mercury. That thought process is important. That's how you manifest. You manifest through your thoughts. Geminis can do I'm going to say this. I'll probably try to take this off the air because of it, but I'm going to say this. So, because this is what Spirit's saying. Geminis can, you can do psychokinesis, you can do psychokinetics, you can move objects with your mind. That's how you manifest. You can manifest through your mind, okay? Or a Cancer needs to manifest through their heart, you manifest through your mind. You can just do it, okay? So that's why they're saying it's important for you to change your thought process, because your brain, your thought process is really open to manifesting what you're wanting, right? But those things continue to happen because you continue to think about what you don't have and what you don't want and how it didn't go and what happened here and blah, 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 right? And so then it just repeats. It just repeats. So change that thought process. You can always turn this energy upside down. You can always transmute this energy. You especially, Gems, can transmute this energy, okay? So instead of looking at it as I'm overwhelmed, Take it one by one by one. Do one thing at a time, then the next, get the next fixed, then the next, then the next, right? That's how you change it. Now, my beautiful ones, in your 8th position, this is the way a loved one will be viewing you or dealing with you. This is so interesting because when I first saw this, I was like, I haven't seen this card in forever, right? But I see this as you. I see this as building your dynasty. I see this as you coming to your place in this world. I see the light shining. I see all the hard work. I see your understanding of how maybe I thought I had to do it by myself, but it's about the community. It's about humanity. It's about what I'm going to give to the world and what the world's going to give to me. It's about the balance in that, because the emperor understands that his dynasty wasn't built just by him. His dynasty was built by the whole. And he has the balance. He has this understanding of himself and the whole. He has this understanding of self-identity as well as the group identity that he belongs to. Okay? So that's the way the universe is seeing you. That's the way they're dealing with you. They're dealing with you like you're building this dynasty. But for others of you, a person comes in. A person could come in and see you with all these possibilities of this big thing that you want to make or be, or like I see it in business, or I see it in business and your life purpose of what you're going to give to the world. So when this person comes in, they could come in as this I see. I see where some of you may have this person come in as like a business deal or a business collaboration or a business thing, but then it turns into a lover, or not just a lover. It turns into the partner that you were really trying to get to, actually, right? So congratulations, you'll be dealing with this person in the month of October, or you will be coming, because the universe already sees you this way. Spirit already sees you this way. God, oneness, source, your guides, all of them, they see you this way, and they're dealing with you in this manner. They're like, yes, she has the dynasty. Yes, he has the dynasty. Yes, it's just about the unfolding. It's just about the decisions. It's just about that. It's just about space and time. Okay? So those things will be happening to you in the month of October. Now, in your 9th position, this is the your hopes and dreams, but for me, this is the outer energy or outer realm of what you're bringing in. And so throughout the month of October, you're going to be having this sense of letting go of not just a sense, but you're making these decisions and really moving on from a difficult situation, from a difficult relationship, from a difficult thing that you had. So I feel like you'll be working on that in the month of October, but I feel like by November, you'll have moved through that and you'll see the possibilities of you, of like, I feel like in November, you're like, that was a hard thing to do, but I did it and I feel so much better and I'm doing what I need to do, right? That's what I'm feeling like. That's a possibility. Because remember, it's in your outer realm. So it just kind of depends on the decisions that you make. But you're on the right track for bringing it in. So in your 10th position, this is the overall outcome of what you'll be working through in the month of October. You have the Ace of Wands. So this ace is a beautiful ace. It's the beginning, like a very passionate, very explosive beginning. And I could be talking about your romance. I could be talking about new friendships. I could be talking about relationships. I could be talking about your careers. I could be talking about your purposes, your finances. Whatever this is, it's a new beginning and it's very passionate and it's got the energy to go far. Because to me, the wands or the fire signs, they don't fail at anything. That they just have to want to do it. And so this is something that you're going to want to start. And when you do, it's going to have the energy behind it to do that. Now, I will tell you, for some reason they're reminding me of this because I haven't said this in the other videos, that Mars and Venus, we're going to have this full moon in Aries, and I'll do a video on it. I'll do like the ceremony that you can do, or the rituals, or the spiritual practices, whatever you want to call it, like I did with the new moon. Anyway, When the full moon goes into Aries on that day, I think it's October 5th, you're going to have Venus and Mars together. So they're going to be working together like during the month of October. Now, you guys know, or if you don't know, never seen me, a man looks at his Venus when he wants that relationship, and a woman looks at her Mars when she wants that relationship. So, there's a big thing where you could meet this person, because some of you, this is this person coming in, this emperor coming to you, this emperor you might be meeting. And it may be this, but I kind of feel like it comes through some of you, it comes through your work or your purpose or something. So he or she. But with Mars and Venus together, we could have a lot of coupling going on in the month of October, like all the way to like I think if it's the 5th, and probably the 5th of November. Okay. All right, my gorgeous ones. I'm sending you so much love and light. I know it looks bleak. I know it doesn't feel good. I know. But you're just about there. You're just about there. Continue to do what you're doing. And remember, if you're overwhelmed, do one thing at a time. And let you guys know. You know how the universe works. You may not be able to consciously voice how the universe works, but you know. So let the universe work. Just continue to do one thing at a time, and let those miracles and those things, those situations and those relationships and those gifts and those things come into you. Let those surprises come to you, okay? You just continue to do what you're doing. Love you, love you, love you. Bye.